I think we're all here. Yes. So let's salute the shrine now. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Namha.
Namo Namha.
Om.
Om.
Hum.
Om.
Good. So I'll stand so you can all hear me. Welcome to the second half of our festive day. Not quite an actual festival day, but we're making it one. So this wonderful opportunity to celebrate, worship, show our devotion to the quintessence of compassion, green Tara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, the greatly precious, compassionate mother, green Tara. So that's what we're doing today, because we have a new statue. We have a new Rupa. So Rupa means form. This is a form. You could say this was my Rupa in a way. And then images, paintings, statues made of metal or clay or wood. They are a Rupa, they are a form. This is a Rupa of green Tara. So it's a form that represents, that embodies something about green Tara. The statue, the Rupa on its own, we can relate to that, like green Tara, like compassion, have that engagement, show our devotion, look towards the ideal that it represents. And the more we engage with that, the more we can engage with the qualities of compassion, with the qualities of green Tara. So doing something like a consecration ceremony, in a way, isn't really necessary, but it helps us to engage. It helps us to move closer towards the qualities of enlightenment, because we can connect with it more, show our devotion to something rather than a theory or an idea. So we're bringing the imagination, we're bringing the mythic, the symbolic into play. That's why the shrine room is bedecked with green. The candles are green, the cloth is green. There are even green flowers. So this is the colour of green Tara. So there's something about the colour green that's significant. So all of these things come to play. So in terms of consecration, I've been looking into this over many years, and I've now had the great fortune to sort of, as it were, conduct consecration ceremonies. And as I go, I'm sort of developing them and understanding more about them, and spent my time reading various arcane, strange documents that people have written about them. One of the things that I've noticed, particularly from the Tibetan tradition, is nothing gets left out. They tend to sort of incorporate and build on top of. So you'll find in ceremonies, you've got elements of consecration ceremonies that go right back to the early days of Buddhism in India. And then there'll be things that are sort of put on top of that are sort of more Mahayana, that sort of occurred more later in India and into Tibet. And then extra things that come from the Tantric tradition. They sort of build on top of their rituals. So there's lots of bits that are sort of intersecting that go right back to the early traditions. So it's really worth sort of bearing these in mind. And I'm trying to sort of make sure that, in a way, what we develop as a consecration ritual really works and connects to a broad base of the tradition. So there's lots of things that go on. part of it is that you take the image, the rupa, the statue, and fill it. So we fill it with precious things. So there's various kind of jewels and incense powder and gemstones that we'll be putting inside of the rupa. But also mantra. So mantra is really significant. So the mantra of green Tara will be going in the statue. Some of you will have had the opportunity to write bits of Dharma quotes, or your favourite kind of bits of quotes of Dharma on compassion, green Tara, on the back of those mantras. So all of that's going in the rupa. But mantra itself is said to be the sound equivalent of the Bodhisattva. You know, that which we see in terms of an image or connect with in terms of our meditation practice, the sound of the mantra is exactly the same. It is the Bodhisattva. When we chant, we are engaging with green Tara fully. It's worth noting that when members of our order join our order, we are given a mantra. We are not necessarily led in the sadhana in our ordination ceremony, but we are given the mantra. Because the mantra is the figure, is the being, it's the same. So we put mantra inside statues, inside rupas, to consecrate them. We're putting lots. I'll tell you how many, or roughly anyway. I've worked it out. It's about, well, it's probably over, because there are various texts of the sadhana that go in the statue and the rupa as well, which also have mantra written in the text. But in terms of the mantras we're adding, it's 77,760, probably a little over.
Wow.
So lots of mantra. One of the other things that comes up in consecration rituals is a sense of the eyes opening. So very often, if a lama is conducting a consecration ceremony, they might finish by having the eyes painted in. So until the eyes are painted in, it's almost like the statue isn't really alive. The rupa hasn't come to life yet. So there's this whole sense of, in consecration ceremonies, you're bringing something to life. Engaging with that sort of imaginative quality, the mythic quality of something coming into being, something coming alive. So yes, painting in the eyes. We won't be painting in the eyes are already painted in. It has a very beautiful painted face. But the face is covered. So the face will be uncovered at the end of the consecration ceremony. And that is, for me, an equivalent of opening the eyes, uncovering the face. One thing that I've also picked up is that actually, very, very simple, and it goes right back to some of the early tradition, is the sprinkling of rice. Actually sprinkling rice over the rupa. I don't know why, but it's in there, and it's part of some of the rituals that rice is scattered over the statue. And again, seen as a way of consecrating it, bringing it to life, making an offering. There's a sense of it being enthroned. So when the rupa is placed on the shrine, that's it, enthroned, ready. So all of these things come into play. Maybe that's enough on that side of things. There are practical elements that I must tell you about. So the consecration ceremony that we will do will all take part during the mantra. So someone, I think, actually I don't know if it should be, actually maybe Stevie, could you start the green Tara mantra at the appropriate moment? I'll give you a nod if you're not sure. But everything will take place while the mantra is being chanted. So we'll just keep the mantra chanting. So relax. We're going to be chanting the green Tara mantra for a while. You don't have to sort of strain your vocal cords. You can relax into it and still give volume. But yes, relax into it. We'll be doing it for a while. But while we're chanting the mantra, I will then come up. And then we have our green Tara statue that we already have at the Buddhist Centre. And this statue's been here for a very long time, many, many years. Had lots of puja and devotion and worship done before it. And has survived a fire in this very shrine room. She was on the shrine and she was fine. A little bit of soot up her back, but she survived a fire. So very blessed. Attached to her is a cord. So this cord is something that I've sort of come across and developed, and I see it sort of a little bit like a spiritual jump lead. So they connect to images and rupas that have already been consecrated, are already in use, and you connect them to the new image. And something is transferred. So last week I got out my embroidery threads, which are, I think about, how long are they? They're about 6 meters, I think. They're about 6 meters long in embroidery thread. And I spent the best part of a day or two plaiting them while chanting the Green Tara mantra. So lots of plaiting of threads together. There are core colours to do with the different chakras that relate to light, but also green. So all plaited together and chanted mantras into them. So that will connect to the new statue. So once that's done, I'll be over there. And then Maitri Darshan, as our chair of the Brighton Buddhist Centre, will come up and he'll collect this from the shrine. So one of the things you do is with rupas, particularly if they're large enough, is you place a kind of magical spiritual spine inside the statue. And this particular piece of wood was a sapling from an oak tree. And the other half of it is in the Padmasambhava statue that we consecrated 2 years ago. So they definitely make a pair. Bound around it are various texts, going right back to Buddha. So you've got the verses of conditioned co-production. There's another verse that's connected to the Buddha. I can't quite remember the title of it, but all to do with conditioned co-production. I spoke to Sangharachita a few years ago while he was still alive. We were going to consecrate a statue, and I asked, what would you put inside them? And he rattled off a list. He was very good at doing. So that was one of them, verses of conditioned co-production. The Heart Sutra. So the Heart Sutra, looking at the business of form and emptiness, which seems very relevant when you're imbuing a form, a rupa, with the qualities of a bodhisattva, which ultimately come from emptiness. So form and emptiness in the Heart Sutra. But then also texts of the sadhana. So the sadhana of Green Tara. There are 3 different versions in here. And then you have the body, the head, the crown chakra here with white, but also a crystal vajra. Then the throat chakra to do with speech and communication, red. There's a small red jewel here. And then the heart chakra. The colour is blue if light is transmitted, but with Green Tara, what sits at her heart is the mantra. So it's a disc of green jade. But yeah, so that's the spine. So Maitri Darshan will collect this from the shrine and give it to me, and I should place the spine inside the rupa. After he's done that, I'd like order members first to come up and collect a roll of mantra from the shrine. So if the order members come up first, Gambiradi, could you come up after Maitri Darshan and take that large roll in the middle, the one that has red thread around it? That's the one that all of the different mantra strips that people wrote on have been wrapped into. So in a way, it's the one that represents Sangha, the quality of Sangha here in the community that people have added to the Rupa. So if you could collect that one, Gambiradi, second, and then all other order members come and collect a roll of mantras. If there is still a roll of mantras and order members have all come up, then other people collect those first. But they all need to go in the statue, and I'll be placing them in. So if people bring them to me, and then I'll place them in so they're the right way up and all of that kind of business. While that's going on, we're chanting the mantra all the time. Over here we have other things. So everyone will be able to put something in the rupa. So on each side we've got bowls of chipped green jade, with also some beads in there as well. But sprinkled in. People can come and sprinkle them in so we're filling a rupa. And also pearls. There's something precious. And I've got various dried flower offerings. Cedar wood, which is a little bit like a kind of natural incense. It's quite a lovely scented wood. It's also supposed to deter moths, so it's quite a good thing to sort of do that. We've got powdered incense, which I had to put through a Nutri-Blend. It works better, it's cheap. And then I found a couple of mattress strips that people had dropped into me a bit late, so they will go in, but I haven't had time to roll them with all the others. Once everything's gone in the statue, we'll seal it. So I've got a base plate and the cloths will be folded in. The statue will be sealed. I will need a hand at that point. Could you help me? So once the statue's sealed, it needs to be lifted out and turned up the right way, which I could do if I wasn't worried about anything coming out of it. So it helps if there's two of us. So if you could help me turn the statue up the right way once we've lifted it out. And then I should be fine to carry her to the shrine. Once I've placed her on the shrine, we can uncover her face, and then I'll sprinkle some rice, and that will be the end of the consecration ceremony. The mantra can then die away, and then I hand over to Gambiradi, who will lead the first puja for our new Rupa of Green Tara. I think that's enough. Let's get on with it. Yeah. So if we sit for a minute or two and then start mantra.